good evening. Welcome back to my late night spook show here on the Horror Metal channel. I'm Hellhound, and I figured I'd make a video showing off my collection of one of my favorite things in the world, Tales from the Crypt. The entire franchise, including the original comic books it was based on, movies, TV shows, everything. Yeah, has had quite a lengthy career. And yeah, I'm going to start from the very beginning with everything I had. I'm not going to get into too much of history of like the background of how it came about and stuff. I was going to do like a brief summary of like the history of horror comics and their influence on pop culture and all that. But I'll be here all day. Let's save that for another video. We'll do like a history of Tales from the Crypt another day. But basically, yeah, Tales from the Crypt was created by William Gaines and Al Feldstein of EC Comics, and entertaining comics. It started in 1950. And it's a little confusing because basically there was an EC comic called Crime Patrol. Now, Crime Patrol issue 15 had a short segment called Crypt of Terror, which was the first time we saw the Crypt Keeper in an EC comic or any comic. And then Crime Patrol 16 continued as it had a short segment, Crypt of Terror. Crypt Keeper hosted and told us a scary story with awesome illustrations, and they were pretty gruesome for the time. This was 1950s, so. They really pushed the envelope, and it kind of led to the Comics Code Authority being created, and the comics were pretty much discontinued because of, people thinking that it caused kids to be juvenile delinquents, and as well as caused illiteracy. I read the comics growing up, but it turned out fine, right? But anyway, yeah, so Crime Patrol number 16 like I said, had Crypt of Terror, the Crypt Keeper, and then Crime Patrol 17 became the Crypt of Terror, which it was called for 3 issues. 17, 18, and 19 were called Crypt of Terror. It took over the numbering from Crime Patrol, so there was never like an actual Tales from the Crypt issue 1 back then. And then with the 4th issue, it was renamed Tales from the Crypt. But I'll kind of get into that as I go along. Anyway, let's start with my comic book collection, the actual the original comics which started everything. Now, I was going to save this one best for last, but this is the creme de la creme of my Tales of the Crypt collection. And anyway, probably a better idea to save it for last, but we're going to get out of the way now because people are probably going to get bored by the time this video goes on. By the end, you probably turn the video off already, so let's go ahead and reveal it now. This is Tales from the Crypt issue 37. From 1953. This is from the original run. This isn't a reprint. This is one of the original copies. Yeah, it's one of the oldest comic books I have. Yeah, like I said, from 1953, and it's an actual official original. It's not a reprint. Yeah, I am going to open it. I know it's blasphemy, it's sacrilege, but I'm not going to sell it anytime soon. I'm going to keep it forever. Hopefully, I'll be buried with it. So, yeah, Tales from the Crypt issue 37. Look at that. Yeah, not a reprint. There's the Crypt Keeper. There he is. There's the Vault Keeper and the Old Witch. And I'll get into that more here in a second. Yeah, see, the Crypt of Terror. Yeah, 1953. This comic is older than both of my parents. Yeah, one of the oldest comics I have. And yeah, it cost me about $120, which I think is a steal for a comic that's, this old. And it's not in the best condition. As you see, there's a few tears in the cover. There's a little bit of tape right there. But I think it looks pretty damn good for being almost 70 years old. And this is the only of our original comic I have out of this line. All the rest of the ones I have are reprints, which I'm fine with. It's not a big deal. Yeah, there he is. The Crypt Keeper telling his stories. He's known for all his witty puns and stuff. Now, basically, yeah, there was Tales from the Crypt and its 2 sister publications, Vault of Horror and Haunt of Fear, which I'm also going to talk about. Any of my collection, I'm not just going to talk about things that have the Tales from the Crypt name. I'm going to talk about anything actually related, not counting things that it inspired, like, Creep Show, the movies, the TV series, the comics. As much as I love Creep Show, I'm only going to keep things that are officially part of the Tales from the Crypt, franchise, and various media adaptations and stuff. I'm not going to open too many of these and look through them. I'm just showing you this one because it's an actual official copy from the 50s. Yeah, there's the Vault Keeper in the Vault of Horror. His segment basically each publication, Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror, and Haunt of Fear, had all 3 horror hosts, the Ghoul Lunatics they were called, and whoever's comic it was, they would tell 2 stories. There were 2 segments that they would host, and the other 2 each would get 1 segment. So like this is Tales from the Crypt comic. So for example, the Crypt Keeper is going to tell 2 stories, the Vault Keeper is going to tell 1, and the Old Witch from the Haunt of Fear, the Witch's Cauldron, is going to tell 1 story. Just like in the Vault of Horror comic, the Vault Keeper would tell 2, and the other 2 would each tell 1. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. You had all three of them at the same time. That was a good idea. Most people think that each one was from each comic, but no, they're all three of them were in pretty much all the comics. There's the old witch right there, and yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, very old comic, one of my oldest in my collection. And I'm very happy to have it. It's the only one that I have that's not a reprint. So yeah, very happy to have this. And by the way, it did come in the mail. Like it wasn't bagged and boarded, so it did come just loose. So I'm not really worried about the fact that I'm touching it and bending it and everything. As like I said, I'm not gonna sell it anytime soon. That's for sure. Alright, so yeah, that's my only official comic. And yeah, like I said, Crime Patrol became Crypt of Terror, which came Tales of the Crypt, and there were technically 30 issues in the series, counting the first three, which were Crypt of Terror. And throughout the 90s, which is where I discovered Tales of the Crypt, and that's when I was reading the comics and watching the TV show and all that, there was three different types of reprints. There was the Gladstone reprints. Russ Cochran was involved with all the reprints, by the way. William Gaines sadly died, I believe, in '92. So this was like around the time when a lot of these were being redone. There was some brief revivals too later on, but I'm not going to get into those. They're not too good. Yeah, there's the Gladstone reprints. There's 6 of them from 1990 to 1991, and that's what you'll see here. Anytime it says double-sized horror or 2 comics in one, blah blah blah. Usually it was like a Tales from the Crypt comic or Vault of Horror and Haunt of Fear. It had like weird science or shock suspense stories or crime suspense stories or something with it. Yeah, these are the Gladstone reprints. There were 6 of them. They weren't in any order. They didn't have the right numbering system. It's number 1, but it's not even close to being the first issue of Tales from the Crypt, which would have been Crypt of Terror number 17. And this is actually this comic actually it's a reprint, of course. It has the story of Lower Birth, where the Crypt Keeper tells its origin. Basically, he's the offspring of an ancient mummy and a 2-headed freak show exhibit. Yeah, of course, there's the Vault Keeper and the Old Witch. The Old Witch revealed her origin too, and in a Haunt of Fear comic, but we'll get into that when we get to it. Vault Keeper never revealed his origin. We don't know where it came from, but he does say he's older than the other two, so who knows? But yeah, anyway, yeah, this is a Gladstone reprint, double size. Has another comic. I'm not going to open this one to see what the other one is, but it's not one of the main ones. Yeah, only 6 issues. Yeah, double-sized horror. As you can tell, it's one of the Gladstone reprints. And Russ Cochran was behind all of them. And then there was the Cochran reprints. There were 7 issues from 91 to 92. They're the ones that say, I'll say 64 pages of horror or something at the top. And there's only 7 issues. They were, out of order. Sometimes they had different covers. But the reprints I like the best are the Gemstone reprints. They were printed all of them in order with a more appropriate numbering system. Like they started from number 1 onward. There'd be like 1 through 30, which is, more easy to follow. This is going to be a little confusing anyway, so I'm not going to go into too many explanations because it even took me a long time to kind of memorize all this. But yeah, the Gemstone reprints are the best. But yeah, this is one of the Gladstone ones. And this is, Gladstone Tales of Crypt issue 1s, that reprints. I did have to write down which ones they reprinted because I can't get that straight. That's a reprint of Tales of the Crypt 33, so it wasn't even close to being one of the third ones. The first, it wasn't even close to being the first one. Here's another one of the Gladstone reprints. You can tell it says double-sized horror. Yeah, Tales of the Crypt. Yeah, there's Crypt Keeper, Old Witch, Vault Keeper. 3 ghoul lunatics who told the stories. Yeah, here's another Gladstone reprint. Number 3. So this one reprints number 23, or no, it reprints number 39. Yeah, pretty cool. I love the artwork, and I love the stories themselves. They're really awesome. Now, here's one of the first of the what I call a Cochran reprints. Again, he was involved with all of them, but I just call these the Cochran reprints because I don't know what else to call them. Yeah, anytime it says 64 pages of horror or whatever, that's going to be a Cochran one. And I think they're double comics too. Yeah, this one reprints Tales from the Crypt 36 and Crime Suspense Stories issue 6, as you can see. Yeah, there's Crypt of Terror. There's our buddy, the Crypt Keeper. Yeah, I love the artwork, and like I said, they were pretty gruesome and graphic for the time. A lot of them were pretty darn scary, I loved these growing up, and they're just solid. They really pushed the envelope, because even horror films at the time in the 50s were very, very tame in comparison. Yeah, especially now, they're pretty dated, but these comics still, I think, are pretty darn effective for what they are. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to get into like my favorite stories or my favorite issues or anything, because I'll be here all day. I'm just going to kind of show off my collection. I'm not going to open and look at any more of them, probably, except for maybe the Vault of Horror and Haunt of Fear. So yeah, we're already reached the 10-minute mark, so let's kind of get through this more quickly. Depending on how long this will take, this video might be a 2-parter. I might show off all my comics and stuff, which are all reprints, and then I might talk about the movies and TV shows in a part 2 video if if it takes too long. Now this is the earliest issue I have from the Gemstone reprints, which I said I reprinted all the ones in the series, and also they were had a number system that were in order, and they had the original covers and everything. It was more easy to follow. It always said something about 1950s EC Comics notorious, or or groundbreaking, or nostalgic, or something. So yeah, this is one of the early Gemstone comics I have. It's number 6, so that would reprint number 22, because that was the 6th one to have a Tales of Crypt, even though the first 3 were called Crypt of Terror. Yeah, pretty cool. I really like that cover, a zombie coming out of the grave to drag a guy into. Yeah, Crypt Keeper, Vault Keeper, Old Witch. Here's another Gemstone, number 7, which reprints 23. Gemstone Tales of Crypt number 8, which would be number 24. Yeah, pretty cool. Number 9, which I guess will be 25. And number 13, which is sorry, I reprinted number 29. And last but not least, number 26 of the Gemstone reprints from that started in 1992 and ended in 1999, which is number 26 is number 42. It's a reprint of issue 42. Yeah, very happy to have these, and yeah, they are all reprints, but good luck collecting all the originals from the 50s, because it ended in 1955, and they've been out of print for years, and the series isn't even going on now, much like some of the other really old comics that I have. The series, ended long ago, aside from a few relaunches and revivals, and obviously a lot of reprints of the same issues. So yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, that's all my Tales from the Crypt comics reprints. And like I said, I only have that one that's the actual original from the 50s, 1953 to be exact. Now let's go ahead and look at all the Vault of Horror comics, which is where the Vault Keeper made his debut. And also, those 2 Crime Patrol issues, 15 and 16, which were the first time we saw the Crypt Keeper in this Crypt of Terror segment, they were reprinted as well as a part of the Gemstone series, and I plan on getting them really soon. So you guys are the first to know. Alright, so the Vault of Horror started with War Against Crime. War Against Crime issue 10 and 11 both had a segment called the Vault of Horror, where we saw the Vault Keeper tell a scary story. And then with issue number 12, it became retitled Vault of Horror. And there were basically 27 issues altogether. Or no, I'm sorry, 29. There were 29 issues, counting, not counting the 2 War Against Crime. They only had a brief segment. There's 29. There was the Gladstone reprints, which had 6 from 1990 to 91, and there's a Cochrane reprint, just like last time, for 5 issues from 91-92, and the Gemstone reprints that had all of them in order with a more correct numbering system from 92 to 99. Yeah, this is one of the Gladstone reprints, double-sized horror, number 2, so that would be a reprint of issue 27. I'm not going to talk about which issues are reprinted, but let's go ahead and take a brief look. Yeah, and there's other EC comics, weird science and shock suspense stories and crime suspense stories and all that. Yeah, there's our guy, the Vault Keeper. Yeah, still don't know his origin, but yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, like I said, I love the artwork. They're pretty gruesome and a little bloody too sometimes. There's the Old Witch. Yeah, this also reprints. This reprints Vault of Horror 27. It also reprints Haunt of Fear number 18. So yeah, it does get a little confusing. So if you're trying to collect them all, good luck. Even if it is the reprints, I try to go for the Gemstone ones, like I said. But here's Vault of. This is another. This is another one of the Gladstone ones, and this reprints one of the Vault of Horror issues. It also reprints one of the Haunt of Fear issues. I don't remember which one, but that's actually a cover of the Haunt of Fear comic that it reprints. So again, yeah, different covers, different numbers. It gets very confusing. It's hard to keep up with the reprints. Then here's the issue 1 of the Cochrane reprints. It says, these always say Tale from the Crypt Presents at the beginning. It's a Vault of Horror, a Haunt of Fear comic. This is one of the first Cochrane reprints. There's another Cochrane reprint. This is a reprint of Vault of Horror issue 35, which contains the story And All Through the House, which was adapted for the 1972 movie. It was also the second episode of the well-known TV show, where most people are familiar with the Tales from the Crypt name. Yeah, there's our 3 ghoul lunatics. Yeah, the Christmas edition as the killer maniac dressed in a Santa suit, terrorizing the woman who just killed her husband. So, yeah, one of my favorite stories, and it's pretty cool that it was adapted twice for film and TV. Yeah, here's another one of the Cochrane reprints. Yeah, Tales from the Crypt presents Vault of Horror, issue 5. And here's one of the Gemstone reprints, issue number 12. So that'd be a reprint of issue 23. Yeah, Gemstone. And also, some of the early comics in Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror didn't always have all 3 ghoul lunatics. They didn't join. I think the 6th issue of Tales from the Crypt, technically the 3rd to have the Tales from the Crypt title, was the first time all 3 of them in the same comic taking turns between hosting the story, and they would kind of argue and stuff, and of course do their puns and one-liners they were known for, their corny jokes and stuff. The first issue of Haunt of Fear, I don't think it had a host at all. The Old Witch didn't make her appearance till the 2nd issue. But more on that here in a minute. Here's another Gemstone reprint, issue 14. I always thought that corpse or ghost or whatever kind of looked like the Crypt Keeper from the TV series. Obviously, it doesn't look anything like the one from the comic. It looked more like a human, though we know he's some kind of ghoul. Here's Vault of Horror Gemstone reprint number 15. Number 19. Yeah, as I said, they were a little gory for them, especially for the time. And number 26, and this is the last issue I have from the Gemstone reprints. And it's told by the Vault Keeper, like I said, and also introduced another special guest that we'd see for the next 4 Vault Keeper issues. That was Vault Keeper Drusilla, his female companion, who would kind of stand there and look pretty while he was telling the stories. Surprise party. It's one of my favorite stories and one of my favorite episodes of the show as well. Yeah, I just love that. Yeah, Crypt Terror. Yep. Pretty cool. So that's the last of my Vault of Horror reprints. And yeah, this is definitely going to have to be a 2-parter because we're almost at the 20-minute mark. So I'll try to hurry up through all the Haunt of Fear. So yeah, I think this is the first one to feature Drusilla, who co-hosted the Vault Keeper, like I said. Alright, so here's Haunt of Fear number 5. Tales from the Crypt presents. That means it's one of the Cochrane reprints. I think there was only one. No, there was 2 Gladstone reprints this time. So yeah, anytime it said giant horror and sci-fi under the cover of the Haunt of Fear, that means it's a Gladstone. Anytime it said Tales from the Crypt presents and 64 pages of blah blah blah, that means it was a Cochrane reprint. And anytime it had the proper numbering, means that it was the Gemstone reprint. There was 28 issues of Haunt of Fear. I took over the numbering from, I believe it was Gunfighter, which is another EC comic. And for the first 3 issues, it was 15, 16, and 17. But then it went back to a proper numbering starting with issue 4, and all the rest of them had actual the actual numbers. So, say you're reading the 17th issue of the Gemstone reprint, that means it's a reprint of the 17th issue of the Haunt of Fear. So it's a lot easier to follow the Haunt of Fear reprints. Yeah, this is issue 5. So it's a reprint of 27, one of the Cochrane reprints. And then here's the 3rd Gemstone reprint. It's a reprint of issue 17. And this is the first time it has the Crypt Keeper, the Vault Keeper, the Crypt Keeper, the Vault Keeper, and the Old Witch interacting for the first time. And it's actually a funny comic explaining how they got their job and how they started appearing in comics. And here's number 4. Again, this is an actual reprint of the actual number 4 because they took over the right number system. This is number 14, which features the Old Witch's origin. She's actually the offspring of a dead werewolf and a dead vampire who got married in a ceremony performed by zombies in a graveyard. So how freaking cool is that? That's the birth of the Old Witch, one of my favorite stories in here, and she tells her backstory, which is cool. Yeah, here's number 19, which is a reprint of number 19, and number 24, Haunt of Fear. Yeah, Old Witch, Vault Keeper, Crypt Keeper. Yeah, very cool. Here are tales to usher into the Haunt of Fear. So yeah, all 3 comics are definitely just as important. It was cool having 3 of the same comic, and to see all 3 ghoul lunatics, you have to get all 3 at the same time. It's pretty cool. I'm not gonna include shock suspense stories or crime suspense stories or Two-Fisted Tales, even though a lot of them were adapted for the TV show. And also they were really part of the actual series as far as I'm concerned, even though they were done by EC Comics. I don't have any of them anyway. But anyway, here's this this trade paperback, Tales from the Crypt, Volume 1 of the EC Archives. It publishes the first, or reprints the first 6 issues. You can see there the first 3 were called Crypt Terror, 17, 18, and 19. And then it began known as Tales from the Crypt. that we're obviously more familiar with. Yeah, EC Archives, Tales of the Crypt Volume 1. Very happy to have this book, this trade paperback collection. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Then here's Vault of Horror, Volume 1 of the EC Archives. You know, there's a Vault Keeper. Collecting the first 6 issues of the Vault of Horror. Yeah, we're good to see where it starts out. You know, the early issues. Pretty cool. Very happy to have that. And then there's also, and that does it for all my comics, and which are mostly reprints, except for that first issue of Tales of the Crypt I showed you in this video. There's also this book, Jokes from the Crypt, which has all 3 ghoul lunatics telling corny jokes and, you know, making cheesy puns that they're known for. Yeah, really silly stuff. It's, you know, it's pretty childish. I got this like a long time ago. I think it came out in the early 90s, around the same time that William N. Gaines passed away. Yeah, this is really, really funny, silly, horror-related jokes with lots of puns and, you know, corny idioms and, you know, double entendres and stuff. Yeah. What did the vampire say after it bit his victim's neck? It's been nice gnawing you. Yeah, but it's really fun seeing all 3 of them interacting and stuff. So, very childish, but I just thought it'd be cool to have. So, yeah, Jokes from the Crypt. Alright guys, well that does it for all my comics and stuff. Tune in for the next video, which is going to be part 2. We're going to look at all the various movies and TV series based on Tales from the Crypt. I'm Hellhound. See you then.